while I am letting those other ones dry, just so you know, sort of one of the ways you can use a hockey brush. This area, this size of a shape is sort of big enough to, I mean, not so big that you couldn't manage it, learn how to manage it with a decent size round brush. But another really handy thing is that these are so soft, and you can, if you're careful and you come back, you can lay down a lot of water that way and then come back in and around the edge refine the way you're defining this shape that you're going to address, and get water on the whole shebang. I think I like saying the whole shebang. And at that point, I can do something sort of more globally for the whole painting exercise. I'm just going to squeeze in a little bit of the peacock blue. And no, it's not going to make that here. Before I move things around, I was too busy having fun with mixing color to get rid of the way excess amount of water that was in there. It does take a decent amount of water and wetting it down to make sure that the whole thing gets substantially wet. But then when you have way too much, it is good to get rid of it. So I could, like I was showing earlier, I could come in and add a little bit of peacock blue over the whole thing. You're going to be able to see pretty quickly where you may have not quite defined the shape. I'm going to put a little bit of paint in my brush there, and oops, try to clean up that edge. So I could also at this point come in and say, how about some Quin Rose over the whole thing? Now that my rose and my blue are going to make various and sundry kinds of violet. I would say, I feel like really the trickiest part to this sort of technique is knowing how to have as much water as you need to make things move around the whole shape without having so much that it's going to end up pooling too much and then spill over on you. Now I'm tipping it this way and pulling it and getting rid of some of that excess water that's just getting in my way. I want to refine this corner here. It's all plenty wet, and I'm getting my number 12 brush and making sure it's going to be acting like a brush with wet color in it and not a sponge, not a thirsty brush. And this sort of rolling things around is a technique I use a lot just to help guide the water and the paint to where I would like it to go. against my better judgment, I'm going to try something here. I'll try to just drop in, even though this is a big number 12, and it's going to hold a lot of water, and a lot of times if you're trying to do what I'm doing, it's better to use a smaller brush. But let's see, I think I have it sort of, yeah, so the paint and in the brush and the amount of water in the brush are relatively similar to what's on the paper, so I'll be able to introduce some color like that, and it won't introduce way too much water and then create some unwanted backgrounds. And it wasn't too dry, so it wasn't acting like a sponge, a thirsty brush. I'm gonna keep thinking about that, and I'm not sure what happened with that, all that the granulating in that one, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. And also, while I'm here, I think I'm going to keep going on this one and just start with way too much, way too strong. It's still a little bit too strong. I'm going to just stay with Quinn Rose on this one. I think I added some blue down in there, but no, I'm just going to try to stick with basically learning how to use one color to do a value study like this, and to learn some of the basics of how much water it takes to dilute the paint to the lightness you want it. Just how dark a color can go, how tipping the paper helps the water and the color flow down the page and mix nice and evenly. How tipping the paper in one place, how tipping the paper for one painting will also impact any other wet areas, but that's okay. I think that's kind of cool. We'll see what happens. There is a lot of that. Let's see what happens. And just the more you do, the more you'll have at your ready to deal with something if it doesn't turn out exactly like you wanted, as well as just knowing it's going to take flexibility. So there was still plenty of water here. When I tipped it this way, it all started pooling down here. So I'm going to pick that up as well. Fun. You know, I may, okay, well, I'll decide later, but